What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and yeah, today you'll notice we have the new office set up in the new home. It's very bright and very echoey, so bear with me. It's gonna take a little bit to get this room exactly how we want it, but I wanted to make sure we got back right after the move and we talked about the brand new Transcendence hero coming this week, Freya. So we have her skill card. We're gonna go over it. We're gonna see exactly how it looks. Let's jump right into it. So this is a really different setup because now instead of me looking this way, I have to look this way. So in case you guys see me look up this way occasionally, you'll know why. But let's take a look. Mystic Fairy Freya. So of course she's going to be a ranger, Transcendence faction. She's still going to be a forest hero, like absolutely amazing on that. But let's go over some of her skills here. So let me make sure we get this going. The active ability. So there's a lot of confusion in here because they don't really release the percent numbers anymore, or like the number of targets they hit or any of that until the hero's actually released. So let's jump in it. Let's see. Raging Growth is the active. So this deals damage to all enemies, which grants a self layer of evolutionary factor. We'll have to go over that in a minute. Well, let's just try to get through this first. And inflicts Mirage Pollen on random enemies that don't already have Mirage Pollen. Additionally, it will then poison enemies with Mirage Pollen once, dealing damage for a certain number of rounds and removing attribute buffs off the target. Meanwhile, there is a chance to inflict Mirage Pollen on random enemies that do not have Mirage Pollen currently on them when they release basic or active skills to enemies. Wait. Like I said, this is confusing. I just looked over there. So yeah, meanwhile, there is a chance to inflict Mirage Pollen on a random enemies without Mirage Pollen when an ally releases a basic attack or active skill to an enemy that already has Mirage Pollen. So the big part here is it needs to have Mirage Pollen on it for that to get that replication. And I wonder if this just means like the chance to inflict is like that the hero actually has it on there. We'll have to see. Okay, there is something to talk about though with these guys here. So let's scroll down. Actually, I don't even know if we can get all the way down the bottom. We're gonna go down to the skill effects real quick here. So the first part is the Mirage Pollen effect. Basic attacks or active skills released by heroes with Mirage Pollen on them have a chance to be dodged. Does not work on bosses. So basically that's saying if the enemy has Mirage Pollen and they release a basic or active skill, your team has a chance to dodge it. And dodge is like one of the most overpowered skills in the game. So it kind of sounds really strong. Then it deals damage to all enemies when Mirage Pollen disappears, and it disappears when the hero with Mirage Pollen takes a basic attack or active skill for a certain number of times. So I think the other one was like 8 times on regular Freya. It was somewhere in that ballpark. And then the evolutionary factor we'll get to here in a bit, but just to talk about it real quick since it's on screen, it says the effect of the passive skill Pistol of Stars will be enhanced based on the number of them they have. So again, this active skill seems like it could be like extremely powerful. Star Seeding is the first passive. This one is going to augment the basic attack. So this is going to deal damage to random number of enemies and additionally poison them, dealing damage for a certain number of rounds. Meanwhile, restores self HP equal to a certain percentage of max HP. So she's going to have a heal on her basic attack. That seems pretty good. Basic attack healing sometimes works out really good. Like, I mean, even one thing that people don't really use Flora that often, but her basic attack heal, pretty significant. Ada, another hero, had a basic attack heal. Very strong. We'll have to see how it works out. Sorry, I guess it was off a little bit here. So that was the Star Seeding. The next one is Veiling Branches. Whenever an ally releases a basic attack or active skill, increases their all damage reduction and attack for rounds. That seems pretty crazy. It's not quite the same as Queen giving like all damage done bonuses, is all damage reduction, but it does buff attack. And the way this hero kind of reads makes me think if you go the route with picking Vesa as your first E5 hero, you might just skip the Queen method and go for her as the second Transcendence hero on your account. It's going to be really interesting for newer accounts. Now, lastly, we have, let me get this on screen properly, Pistol of Stars. So this is a passive skill. Okay, different layers of evolutionary factor have different effects. So I imagine it's like 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, or something like that. But the basic one with the least amount of layers, increase all allies damage reduction and control immunity for a certain number of rounds. The second one is increases all allies attack for a certain number of rounds. Afterwards, grants all allies a shield equal to a certain percentage of attack. So she's still retaining that, like, the shielding portion that we had from the original Freya hero, so that's pretty cool. And then the next one is at the end of each round, increases the damage dealt by self to poison targets by a certain percent. That could be big. Meanwhile, increases self attack and speed until the battle ends. It's gonna be interesting. Very, very interesting. The only other part that, like, evolutionary factor comes in is deals damage to all enemies, which grants self a layer of that. So it's only when she uses her active ability that she's going to be getting these layers. So I mean, maybe in a PvE scenario where you're just chaining actives every round, this could be significant. I mean, survivability is cool, yeah, but it's also increasing things like attack, self attack. There's the poison here too, which again, most game modes nowadays can, like, they can basically purify their abilities. So that's one downside, kind of, sort of, maybe. We'll have to see. I don't know. This could be really good. It could be really good. You notice I keep looking right here instead of right here. Sorry, but yeah, I think this hero sounds like she's gonna be like a really, really good supporter hero. It almost feels like she should be a priest, to be honest, because she just kind of does similar things to what other support heroes do. Granted, Scarlet Queen Halora has a very similar skill set of giving buffs and support to her main team, and she's a ranger as well. Her active hits all enemies, so that could be a fun melodic strings team. Like, we could add her into the melodic team with Holmes Young, Queen, who else? Eos, like, there could be a crazy burst team that you run with a couple of Rogans in there too. That could be a fun PvP team to run with a ton of melodic strings. The poison, I just don't see the poison being like that effective. It's never gonna match something like Ithaca's, so I don't know. What do you guys think? I need you guys to let me know in the comments down below. We are most likely going to keep trying to get this office set up a little better. It feels weird just having, like, all this bright light coming in. Let me know if you like it or not. The other thing I was considering is getting a green screen. What do you guys think about a green screen? Because then we don't have to worry about it being dark in here. That could be a lot of fun, and then I can just, you know, like, cut myself out and plaster myself on everything. So definitely leave a comment down below. Number one, how do you think this hero is going to be? I think she's going to be an awesome supporter. If you build Vesa as your first Transcendence hero to support your Eloise, I think she's going to be an amazing second E5 or second Transcendence hero to build. And then also setup. Green screen? I mean, we got a lot of light. That's what you need for a green screen setup. Could be fun. See you guys next time.